Hello everyone, I'd like to start this video by inviting you all to attend a very historic event that's going to happen in this very field that I'm standing in. We're calling it the Oregon Ag Prayer Breakfast, the first of its kind, and we are believing that there will be 1,000+ farmers that are going to show up in this field on September 21st, which is a Tuesday at 8 o'clock in the morning. If you'll notice here, I've got the mountains in the background. I am in a local farmer's field here that is right along Interstate 5. If you're traveling up and down I-5 around September 21st, you will see a very large tent that's going to be here, a 60 by 160 tent, and there will be tractors and farm equipment and log trucks all lined up along the freeway here for one sole purpose, and that's to acknowledge God and what He's done, how He provides for us as farmers, how He is the Lord of the harvest, and how we desperately need Him. As all of us know, these last few years have been devastating for many reasons, with COVID, and now recently with the devastation and the horrible things that are happening in Afghanistan. And there's so many things that are negative and just bad news that we're hearing. And so we believe very strongly that there are two things that we can do in response to bad news. The first is complain, and the second is praying. And we believe that the second is a much better option. So in this video, I want to tell you all about how this came about and 3 miracles that God did in the process of putting this together. So here is miracle number 1. So in the beginning of putting this event together, we had a team of people who are rallying. There's well over 50 agribusinesses that are behind this and say, you know what, this is what we need for this time in history. We had planned on having this event at our local fairground and planning on 1,000 farmers attending this prayer breakfast. Well, our plans have changed. So what happened is, after we had planned on reserving the expo center, our state has put in a mask mandate again, and potentially we could lose the ability to gather with 1,000 people. And from the very beginning of this event, our team of planning people prayed and said, Lord, if this is not all about Jesus and all about you, we don't want to do this. So we have 2 things, actually 3 things that need to take place, and we're a little over a month away from this event. So one of the first ideas that we had, and we believe that it's God, that He wants this to be right along I-5, right in the field that I'm standing, but we didn't know where it was going to be. So we prayed, and we had 4 farmers specifically that we knew had property right on I-5 here. We called the first farmer, and the farmer, we told them what we wanted to do. He's got property on both sides of the freeway, and he said, wow, this is great. I am all for it. However, I'm in my tractor right now, and I'm 5 minutes away from finishing plowing up the field. And obviously, if we're gonna gather 1,000 farmers to park their cars and eat breakfast, we can't do it in a plowed up field and that's been worked up and it's too dusty. So we needed a field just like this. Long story short is, we went to the 4th farmer and still didn't have a good solution. And he said, you know what, why don't you go talk to my neighbor up here and see if his land right on the freeway would be available. So myself and one of our team members, the planning team, came in our truck, literally drove right here in this field, and we looked at it, looked at the location and said, this is it. This is where I believe God wants to have this. So we get on the phone with the farmer, and it was the greatest thing. Again, I'm gonna acclaim it to a miracle, but the farmer, once we told him about the event, what we wanted to do, he said, wow, you aren't gonna believe this, but the last couple years, I've just been praying more than ever that God would do something like this. And he said, absolutely, you're welcome to have it on the land. Dave Goraki, thank you so much for allowing us to have the event at the site, and we appreciate that. That being said, now that we have room and space, we are also inviting all of the Oregon farmers that are more than a drive away from this. If you're from Eastern Oregon or Klamath Falls or even over in Hermiston area, it's a long drive to come over here, and you'd have to get up. You'd have to start the night before just to be here at 8 o'clock. So you are more than welcome to bring your RVs to this site. On Monday, September 20th, we'll have bucks lined up. As you can see, there is plenty of room to do this on this field that Dave has so generously offered to us. So the second thing I'll mention is we needed a tent, and we needed a tent in less than a month. And so how is that going to happen? We prayed and said, Lord, you want this to happen? Somehow make it work. We ended up calling every place from Oklahoma to Florida, trying to find a revival tent that was large enough to do this event. Specifically, we knew it needed to be 60 feet wide by 120 at minimum to fit everyone in. And in reality, it needed to be larger. So in calling the companies, every one of them said, you know, we love what you're doing. We'd love to provide a tent for you. However, we are booked out till March, and that's not soon enough. However, God had another plan. And by the way, our group, none of us know how to set up a tent. So even if we would have bought one, it may have taken us a month just to set that up. However, God had another thing in mind. I went to a local church, specifically the Jefferson Baptist Church, and Pastor D. Duke. I've never met him before. I'm in his parking lot. Just wanted to share with him some posters and excitement about the event. I see this Ford truck pull in. He's wearing old jeans, his shirt's untucked, similar to me. And an older gentleman, he walks into the church, not knowing that he was the pastor. I walk in behind him. I look on the sign and it says Pastor D. Duke, Senior Pastor D. Duke. Walk in his office, tell him about this. He gets very excited about the event, but something interesting happened. He, in talking with him about the event, telling him, hey, we're looking for a tent. Do you have any ideas? His maintenance guy came in and said, you know what? You need to contact the Party Store in Albany, Oregon, right up the road here. And they're Christian people and they will help you out. Needless to say, God knows what he's doing, because these folks have given us a fantastic deal on a tent. And guess what? They had one left of the size that we needed. So on this spot, right over in this vicinity where the event's going to be, we will have a 60 by 160 tent. And guys, there is just so many reasons that God has put this into place where I 100% believe that not only will we have more than 1,000 people, but God is going to replicate this in many other states across this country, because quite frankly, it's the most important thing we need right now. And in the midst of this, the situation we're in, God is the one that can answer our prayers, and he hears us. The fact that we can go to the God that created us and put our prayers before him is just amazing. And remember, I told you there was 3 miracles. Just yesterday, I was looking into banners, because again, we're gonna have tractors and equipment all lined up here along the freeway. And we wanted to put a big banner that said Oregon Prayer Breakfast, the date. And looking into that, I called the company, and it was gonna have to be a really large banner, and we were concerned about wind and so forth. And the owner of the company comes back and he says, you know what do you think about renting one of these giant solar powered reader boards? And I'm gonna show you a picture of what he showed me. And I was floored, because I thought, yeah, sure, that sounds great, but it's probably more expensive than we can afford. He came back, and it's 4S Signs, by the way. I'll put a plug in for those guys. Amazing people. They believe in what we're doing, and they are giving us a fantastic deal. So when you come to this event, you'll be looking for tractors and a big tent and a reader board that God provided at an amazing price, which we thank you again for us for that. But ultimately, we thank God, because he is the one that's orchestrating this, and we are excited about having you participate in this historic event. So please, I know this has been a long video, but please take the time right now to go on the website, sign up, bring your wives, your kids, your co-workers, your pastor, everyone that wants to come and be a part of this event is welcome. Please pass the word on and watch as God does an amazing thing by gathering his people who are coming for one purpose, and that's to honor God and pray to a God who answers prayers.